one day his grandfather, or he had gone to live with his grandfather after his father died, and his grandfather was a farmer, and his grandfather had a wheat field, and the wheat was growing up beautifully, and the neighbors came over one day when they were at church on Sunday, and they chopped down his grain field. And John was so upset, he came running in. Grandpa, the mean neighbors, they cut down your wheat field. And he said, oh, John, they did me a favor. He says, I was going to cut that field down early. He says, the harvesters were coming on Monday, but look, they've gone and done the work for me. So,
Perfect.
yes, so at 16 years old, John decided he wanted to try preaching. So he worked all summer, he saved $1, and he decided that he would be able to take that dollar, go over about 15-20 miles where nobody knew him, and he could try his hand at being a preacher. And if he was successful, he would know that God had blessed him, and that's what he wanted him to do for a living, and he ended up being successful. So he ended up going into the ministry. Let's see. He accepted the Advent message when Jan Andrews came to town. And after he accepted the Sabbath message, he teamed up with Merritt Cornell in 1854 and held his first public tent meetings here in Battle Creek. Now, back in those days, ministers did not receive a salary. They had to work a separate job in order to make a living. But for 1 year, this is what John made. He made 3 10-pound cakes of maple sugar. He got 10 bushels of wheat, 5 bushels of apples, a half of a hog, 1 peck of beans, and $4 in cash. So he ended up working with a second job where he sold window sashes. And he ended up marrying a woman by the name of Mary. He and Mary had 4 children. Teresa was the oldest one, and sadly she died when she was 2 years old. Minnie was born next, and she passed away at 6 years old. And then Mary got pregnant again for twins, and she ended up, the first baby died right away. The second baby lived, but unfortunately within an hour Mary died too. So they are all buried over in the Oak Hill Cemetery, which is about 3 miles from here. It's a cemetery where the Whites and their families are all buried, in the Post families and Sojourner Truth and all of those guys. So anyway, so all right.
So he worked all summer for $1.
Yeah.